Hi everyone, thank you for checking out this math tutorial video. This is Mommy J and welcome to my YouTube channel. Alright, so let us discuss this time simple interest. But first, let me define what simple interest is. So, it is the interest computed on the original amount only after a certain period of time, usually in years. So, let's say for example, you borrowed 1,000 pesos from your classmate and he told you that after 1 year, there will be an additional 10% on that borrowed money. So therefore, after 1 year, you will return 10% of 1,000 and that 1,000 also. So all in all, you should be returning 1,100 pesos. Okay? So the simple interest in this scenario is the 100 pesos. Okay? So let us discuss more of this on the next slides. So we will be using here this formula I equals PRT all throughout this topic of simple interest. So P stands for the principal or initial amount of money borrowed or invested. And then rate of interest, this is in percent. Later on, we will be converting these percentages into its corresponding decimal form before we insert it to the formula I equals PRT. And then T here stands for the time in years in which the principal is invested, or when you borrowed money after a certain period of time. And so the unit is in years. And then I is the amount of interest earned. Okay? So, let's say for example, after 1 year, magkakaroon na siya ng additional amount. That particular additional amount is what we call interest. So, katulad ng example kanina. Okay? For the meantime, before we solve problems involving simple interest, let us convert first the following units of time in months into years, because it is very important that the time here, the unit of time in this formula that you're gonna be using is already in years. So 6 months. So how do we do that? We will just divide the months by 12. Okay, so since merong 12 months in a year, 6 months is just a fractional part of 1 year, so that is equivalent to 0.5 year. Alright? 6 over 12. So, 6 over 12 ang ating solution dyan. How about 3 months? So, 3 months is just 3 over 12. So, that's 3 over 12, 0.25 in decimal. So, 0.25 of a year. 15 months. So, 15 months, 15 over 12. 15 months in years is, you can use your calculator, 1.25 years. Okay? And then finally, we have 39 months divided by 12. 39 divided by 12 is 3.25 years. Now, on a separate slide, we will be discussing unit of time other than months and years. Days, unit of time. So, it will be on a separate lecture video. Okay, let us convert this time rate of interest or percent into its corresponding decimal form. Okay, so how do we convert percentages into decimal? We just need to move the decimal place to the left 2 units. Okay, 1, 2. So that's 27. 1, 2. So that would be 0.27. Or you can also divide this 27 by 100. It's the equivalent of percent, 27 over 100. How about 123%? So just divide by 100 or 2 decimal places to the left. So that is equivalent to 1.23. How about 21.5%? So 21.5% is 21.5%. And 21.5%, when you convert it into its decimal form, that is 0.215. Alright? 0.17%. So, 2 decimal places to the left or divided by 100, it's just the same. So, we have here 0.0017. And finally, we have 3/4%. 3/4 is 0.75. So 3/4 is the equivalent of 0.75. And the 0.75%, 2 decimal places to the left. So 0.0075. Alright? So that's converting percentages into its decimal form. Now let's try to use the formula I equals PRT in solving this simple interest problem. Okay, the tip is to write, of course, the given and identify what is being asked in the problem. So in this problem, you are asked to calculate the simple interest. So that is what is being asked. The simple interest is letter I. So that is the missing variable. When 7,000 is invested, so 7,000 pesos here is the principal. And then 16%. 16% is the rate of interest, which is equivalent to 0.16 in decimal form. And the time should be in years, so it's already in years, so we'll just write 3 here. Okay? So make sure that this given are on their right units. So 7,000 pesos, that's in peso. Time is already in years, and then the rate is in decimal form. So using the formula I equals PRT, I is being asked, let us substitute the given and solve for I. So I is equal to 7,000 pesos times 0.16 times 3. Okay? Using your calculator, 7,000 times 0.16 times 3 equals 3,360. Now, it's better that your final answer should have units. So let us attach the unit of interest, which is in the given peso. So this is the final answer. Okay? Let us try another one. Okay, second example. How much did Chris borrow if his loan earned an interest of 630 pesos at 7.5% for 18 months? Now, let us identify what 630 is in this example. So, this is the interest earned. Okay, so that is letter I. So, I is equal to 630. The rate is 0.075, so it's 7.5%. 7.5%, that's equivalent to 0.075 in decimal form. And then 18 months is the time in this given. So that is in months, we'll divide it by 12. So 18 months, 18 over 12, so that is in years, 1.5 years. So what is being asked here is the amount of money borrowed by Chris. So that's the principal being asked. Now, if you are solving for letter P here, so we can solve for that by simply transposing R and T to the denominator of I. So P is equal to I over RT. So we will be using this one when we are solving for the principal. So P equals I 630 over the rate 0.075 and then 1.5 years. Okay, so using our calculator, 630 divided by 0.075 and 1.5, so that would be 5,600 pesos. So Chris borrowed 5,600 pesos. Example number 3. So Bethel invested her 5,000 pesos such that after 15 months, her money earned an interest of 800 pesos. At what rate of interest did she invest her money? So, in this problem, you are asked of the rate of interest. So, in the formula, that is letter R. So, R is missing here. And then let us identify the I, the P, and the T in the problem. So, 5,000 pesos is the principal. And then 15 months is time. Now we will divide 15 by 12 because the unit of time should be in years. 15 over 12 is 1.25 years. And then interest, the amount of interest earned is 800 pesos. Now just like what we did in example number 2, in order to solve for R, we will be transposing this P and T to the denominator of I. So that's just simple algebra here. R equals I divided by PT. Okay? So R is equal to 800 divided by 5,000 pesos and the time is 1.25. Okay? So you will be getting a decimal that is 0.128. Okay? Now, the unit of rate should be in percent. So, our final answer, since this is a decimal equivalent of the rate, that the equivalent of 0.128 in percentage is 12.8%. In other words, let us multiply this by 100 to make it a percentage value.
right? So 12.8% is the final answer. Okay, example number 4. Bella loaned 10,000 pesos at 12% simple interest rate. How long was the term if she repays a total of 11,800 pesos? So you are asked here, how long was the term? So when you are asked how long was the term, so you are asked of the time. So that is the missing variable in the problem. Now let us identify the interest, the principal, and the rate. Now we can see here 10,000 pesos. 10,000 pesos is the initial amount, so that's the principal. And then 12% is the rate of interest, which is equivalent to 0.12. And then you can see here that she repays a total of 11,800 pesos. Now with 11,800 pesos, part of it is actually the initial amount, which is 10,000. So nung ibabalik nyo na yung pera, 11,800 na yung kanyang ibabalik. So lahat-lahat yon sa after a certain period of time, kasama na dyan yung interest. So, how much is the interest? With 10,000 principal and 11,800 final amount. So, the interest here is 1,800 pesos. So, yun yung tinubo ng pera. 1,800 pesos. Now, just like the previous two examples, we are solving here time. We can solve for time by dividing I with PR. So we will be using this in solving for time in simple interest. So the time is I, 1,800 divided by the principal 10,000 pesos, and then 0.12 also. So using our calculators, 1,800 divided by 10,000 pesos and 0.12, we have 1.5 years. So that is the final answer. Okay? And then finally, we have this last example for this simple interest topic. Ben invested his money at 5% simple interest. So from that sentence, we can actually identify that 5%, which is the rate, which is equivalent to 0.05 in decimal. After 30 months, he withdrew all his money from this investment amounting to 12,000 pesos. Okay, so 30 months here is the unit of, is the time. So 30 over 12. 30 over 12. Naka-months kasi siya, kaya i-divide natin sa 12. So that is 2.5 years. Okay? And then we can see here another given, which is 12,000 pesos. He withdrew all his money from this investment amounting to 12,000 pesos. So pagkatapos ng 30 months, yung investment na niya ay 12,000 pesos. So dito sa formula natin, it's neither I nor P. It's not the interest, it's not the principal, it's actually the final amount at the end of 30 months. 12,000 pesos. Okay? Now, let us recall that the final amount at the end of the term or at the end of a particular period is composed of the principal and the interest. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, parehong unknown yung principal and interest. But we have here 12,000 pesos. So that means P plus I is equal to 12,000 pesos. Now this is a bit different from the previous examples because in the previous examples we have only one variable unknown. In this case, P and I are both unknown, but with the given we have actually 12,000, which is P plus I. Now, let us use this 12,000 in terms of P and I in the formula I equals PRT. Kasi nga, yun yung given lang dyan. Okay, so letter I. Yan. With simple algebra, letter I, let us isolate letter I here and transpose. Iwanan natin yung I dyan and then transpose natin yung letter P on the right side with 12,000. So that will become 12,000 minus P. Okay ba? Naging minus P siya sa kabila. So that's the equivalent of I. So this letter I here, pwede na natin i-substitute yan. By substitution, we will have this one. Yung letter I, sa I equals PRT, ang equivalent niya ay 12,000 minus P. Okay? And then again, wala tayong letter P. Susulat ulit natin yan. The rate of interest we have here 0.05. And the unit, the time given here is 2.5. Alright? Okay. So, with our calculators, we can multiply 0.05 and 2.5 here. So, that is 0.125. Okay? So, there's letter P. Multiply natin yung tatlong yan. P, 0.05 at saka 2.5. So, we can multiply 0.05 and 2.5. The result is 0.125 P. Alright? And then, rewrite natin yung 12,000 minus P on the left side. Now, with basic algebra, solving for a variable, let us transpose everything on let us transpose yung variable on the left side of the equation. So, ibig sabihin, itong 0.125, lipat natin sa kaliwa, it will become negative 0.125p. And then, yung negative p, nandyan pa rin siya. And then, yung 12,000, we will transpose it to the right side naman, kasi constant lang siya. So, magiging negative 12,000 siya on the right side. Alright? So, pinagsama natin sa left side yung letter P, yung may mga letter P na variables. Okay, so combine natin, negative 0.125 at saka itong P na to. Ano ba coefficient ng P dito? Diba 1? So, negative 0.125 minus 1P. So, that would give us negative 1.125P equals negative 12,000. Alright? And then finally, divide both sides by negative 1.125, negative 1.125. Okay, calculators. 12,000 divided by 1.125. So, that would be equivalent to 10,666.67. So, that is in pesos, principal. Let's go back to the problem. The question is, how much was the initial investment? So, the initial investment is P. Alright? So we already have solved for the unknown variable. So 10,666.67. Alright, so that's it for this lecture slides on simple interest. I hope you have already subscribed and turned on the notifications for more tutorials coming up. Thank you.
Listen.